Hello, welcome to this episode of Rich Insights. I'm Don Rich, the CIO or Chief Investment Officer for Esoterica Capital Management. Today's topic is inflation. Inflation is not dead everywhere. All right, let's start with where it is dead. All right, and that's the U.S. Now, over the last few years, virtually everyone expected inflation to increase. Why was that? Well, numerous states, in fact, most of the states, raised the minimum wage. Right? That in itself should have a tremendous effect. It's also the tightest labor market in 50 years. Right? That's the second reason. You would think that would be driving up wages and giving rise to inflation. The third effect is tariffs. Everyone expected when tariffs were applied that would increase the prices of materials that we import, and that would result in inflation. And the fourth reason is just robust demand. Right? So we had all these reasons why inflation in the U.S. should increase, but it hasn't. In fact, it's been melting. It's been going down. There's really no signs of inflation on the horizon. All right, but that's not true for everyone. Right? There's two cases in particular that stand out. The first is United Kingdom. Inflation in the UK is expected to increase pretty substantially. On the order of about 1.5% more than it is today. And the reason for that is Brexit. All right? When they leave the European Union, then there's going to be some supply chain disruptions. Right? And if demand's held constant and there's disruption in supply, what do you think's going to happen? Right? You don't need a PhD in economics to know that should drive prices up. All right? So that's the first place that there are signs of inflation on the horizon. Not today, but on the horizon. The other place we have spike in inflation today, as we speak today. And that place is China. Let's go to the chart here and I'll demonstrate this. Here we have two lines here. We have the blue bar is the CPI, or the China consumption basket, right? The inflation of the consumption basket. A broad-based consumption basket, just like virtually all countries use. And you can see here in the mid-90s, we were up north of 25% on this. But recently, the high has been sort of in this 8% area. All right. The other thing to notice on this chart is this magenta-colored line. This is food price inflation. All right. Now, first of all, notice how well these two track each other. Why is that? Well, there's a big difference between the U.S. and China in terms of food as a percent of disposable income. Okay, so food in the U.S. Accounts for, I believe it's 5 to 7% of our disposable income. That's a very small amount. All right, so while it's frustrating when you go to the grocery store and you see price hikes, it really doesn't amount to much in the big picture. All right. So it's 5 to 7% in the U.S. and for a lot of industrialized countries, they tend to be in that range. In China, that number is 20 to 25%. All right. So think about this: food being 1/4 of their disposable income, 1/4 or 1/5 of their total disposable income. That's why these two lines track each other so well. Now, food price inflation here. It's on the right-hand side, just broke 20%. All right. So while the broad basket is growing about 5.5% year on year, the food component is growing over 20%. All right. And we've only seen this once in recent history, and that was during the Great Recession. Okay. So what's causing this food price inflation in China? Well, it's largely pork prices. Pigs. Now, there's two reasons for it. The first is there has been a new version of the swine flu in the last couple of years. And that has caused numerous hog farms to have to be destroyed to prevent the spread of disease. All right. Now, on top of that, of course, as part of the trade war, there's been some tariffs on the U.S. pork products. All right, so that has given rise to the Chinese inflation. Now, why is that important? Well, first of all, China is a very important player on the global scene, right? No questions asked. But in terms of investing, it's also a third of the emerging markets basket, right? If you buy the entire EM basket, China is over 1/3 of the total basket. That makes it important. Now, there's another concern as well, is that we've seen in the past that when societies have very high inflation, particularly food price inflation, it can lead to social unrest. All right, now, we're talking about numbers far greater than 20%, but it is something to keep an eye on. So while 20% might not cause people to riot in the streets, if this thing continues to grow and grow and grow, it could potentially be a problem. So it's something to keep our eye on. All right, that's our message for today. I'm Don Rich. I hope you enjoyed it. You just experienced a rich insight. Talk to you soon.